You think silence means she's gone forever? That the moment she walked away, the door slammed shut and locked from the inside. But here's what no one tells you. Women don't make decisions the way you think they do. They don't flip a switch and delete you from their system. They circle back. They reconsider. They watch. And if you're paying attention, if you're honest enough to see past your own desperation, you'll notice the quiet signals that she's reconsidering everything she said when she left. Let me be clear from the start. This isn't about chasing. This isn't about waiting by the phone like a dog hoping for scraps. This is about understanding female psychology at a level most men never reach because they're too busy either begging or pretending they don't care. There's a third option, and that's where power lives. So if you want the truth, the kind that actually changes outcomes instead of just making you feel better for 5 minutes, hit subscribe right now. Because you're going to need these reminders when your emotions try to convince you that neediness is love and silence is strength. It's not. Let's get into it. Here's the thesis. When a woman starts thinking about returning, she doesn't announce it. She tests. She observes. She sends out feelers so subtle that a desperate man will miss every single one while he's busy drafting paragraphs about his feelings. And the man who's evolved past that, the man who's done the internal work, he doesn't even need to look for signs because he's already become the kind of person she'd want to return to. But since you're here, you're probably somewhere in the middle. So let me show you what to watch for, and more importantly, what it means about you. Sign 1. She keeps tabs on your life without direct contact. She's watching your stories. She's asking mutual friends how you're doing, framing it casually like she's just being polite. She knows where you went last weekend. She knows you got a promotion, or started going to the gym, or stopped posting sad song lyrics at 2 a.m. And here's what that means. She's assessing whether you've changed. Women don't come back to the same man they left. They come back to the version of him that finally did what she'd been asking for, or more often, the version that stopped needing her to feel whole. If she's monitoring from a distance, she's comparing the old you to the current you. The question is, what is she seeing? Are you spiraling, posting thirst traps and cryptic quotes, performing your pain for an audience? Or are you quiet, grounded, visibly building something that doesn't require her validation? Because she notices the difference. She always does. Sign 2. She reaches out with low-stakes messages, a meme, "this reminded me of you," a question about something trivial, something that doesn't require a real conversation, but opens the door for one. Most men get this and immediately overinvest. They write back essays. They try to turn a meme into a deep reconnection, and that kills it instantly. Because what she's really doing is checking your temperature. Are you still burning hot with need? Are you cold and resentful? Or are you warm, stable, unbothered? She's not ready to talk about feelings. She's testing whether you've become someone she can respect again. And respect, not love, is what determines whether she comes back. Love without respect is just attachment. Attachment fades. Respect compounds. Sign 3. She brings you up in conversations with others, especially mutual friends. And it's not negative. She's not trashing you. She's not playing the victim. She's saying things like, "He's doing well," or "I hope he's happy," or even, "We had good times." This is massive, because when a woman is truly done, she either doesn't mention you at all, or she frames you as a cautionary tale. But when she's reconsidering, she starts softening the narrative. She's preparing the social groundwork for a potential return. She's managing how she'll be perceived if she goes back. And that means she's imagining it. She's running simulations. She's asking herself if it's possible. And the answer depends entirely on whether you've become the kind of man who doesn't need her to come back, but would welcome her if she earned it. Sign 4. She gets emotional when she sees you or hears about you thriving. Maybe a mutual friend tells you she teared up when she found out you got that job you always wanted. Maybe she seems rattled when she runs into you and you're calm, happy, moving forward. That emotion, that's not indifference. That's regret starting to surface. That's the realization that maybe she miscalculated. Maybe you weren't the problem. Or maybe you were, but you fixed it, and now she's on the outside. Women don't cry over men they're done with. They cry over men they're afraid they lost. But here's the trap. If you see that emotion and you rush in to comfort her, to reassure her, to make it easy, you lose. Because she doesn't need a man who makes everything easy. She needs a man who holds the standard that made her feel something in the first place. Sign 5. She starts mirroring your energy. If you pull back, she leans in slightly. If you're thriving, she suddenly starts self-improving too. If you're dating, she drops hints that she's been on dates, but they didn't mean anything. This is competition anxiety. She's realizing that you're a resource she walked away from and someone else might claim. And listen, this sounds manipulative when I say it out loud, but it's not calculated. It's biological. Women are drawn to men other women value. If you've become more attractive, more grounded, more purposeful since the breakup, her brain starts screaming that she made a mistake. But again, if you react to that by chasing, you confirm that you're still the same needy version she left. The power is in the non-reaction. The power is in continuing to build your life, whether she notices or not. Sign 6. She initiates plans but keeps them ambiguous. We should grab coffee sometime. Maybe we can talk. No specifics, no commitment. This is her dipping a toe in without risking rejection. She wants to see if you're available, if you're interested, if the door is still open. And here's where most men fail the test. They say yes immediately. They clear their schedule. They make it obvious that they've been waiting for this. And that kills the attraction. Instead, you treat it the way you'd treat any other invitation. You're interested if it's genuine. You're busy if it's vague. Yeah, I'm around Thursday after 6. Let me know if that works. Specific. Bounded. Not desperate. Because if she's serious about reconnecting, she'll match your clarity. If she's just testing your availability, she'll go vague again, and you'll know she's not ready. Sign 7, she apologizes or admits fault, even in small ways. This is huge. Most women, most people, don't apologize unless they're reconsidering the entire narrative. If she says, I was too harsh, or maybe I didn't see your side, or even just, I'm sorry for how things ended, she's cracking the door. She's revising the story she told herself to justify leaving. But here's the key. Don't accept the apology like you've been waiting for it your whole life. Don't let relief flood your system and make you soft. Acknowledge it. I appreciate that. And then move on, because the apology isn't the end of the process. It's the beginning. She's testing whether you've healed enough to not need that apology to feel whole. If you have, you pass. If you haven't, you'll cling to it, and she'll sense the wound is still open. Sign 8. She defends you when others criticize you. Maybe someone in her circle says something negative about you and she shuts it down. Maybe she corrects the story, adds context, refuses to let you be the villain. This means she's protecting your reputation because she's still tied to it. Because she's imagining a world where you're back in her life, and she doesn't want the people around her to hate you. This is pre-commitment behavior. She's clearing the path, and you won't always know this is happening because it's behind closed doors. But if it gets back to you through mutual friends, take it as a serious indicator. She's doing the internal work of reconsidering. Sign 9. She asks about your relationship status directly or indirectly. Are you seeing anyone? Or she fishes through mutual friends? Or she stalks your social media looking for clues? She's assessing availability, but more than that, she's assessing threat. If you're thriving and single, she has an opening. If you're thriving and with someone else, she has to process that loss. Either way, her asking means she cares. It means the idea of you with someone else bothers her. And that's the leverage you never use directly. You don't brag. You don't make her jealous on purpose. You just live in your truth. If you're single and fulfilled. If you're dating without drama. You're not performing for her. You're just being the kind of man who has options because he's valuable. And that, more than anything you could say, makes her reconsider. Sign 10. She gets nostalgic. She brings up memories. Remember when we did that thing? I was thinking about that trip. She's not just reminiscing. She's reminding herself why she was with you in the first place. She's re-romanticizing the past because the present without you isn't what she thought it would be. And this is dangerous for you if you're not careful, because nostalgia is a drug. It feels good to relive the highlights. But if you sink into that nostalgia with her, if you start living in the past, you prove you haven't moved forward. The move is to acknowledge the memory warmly but briefly, and then redirect to the present. Yeah, that was great. I'm actually doing this other thing now. That's pretty cool. You honor the past without living in it. You show her that you're not stuck, that you've integrated the lessons and kept building. That's what makes her want to be part of your future, not just your history. Sign 11. She changes something significant about herself and makes sure you know. New job, new look, new habits, and somehow it gets back to you. This is her signaling that she's evolved, that she's not the same person who contributed to the problems. She's hoping you'll see her differently. She's hoping you'll be curious. And if you've done your own work, you will be, but not in a desperate way. You'll be curious the way you're curious about anyone who's genuinely improving. You'll respect the growth without rewarding it prematurely, because the real question isn't whether she's changed. It's whether the two of you in your new forms are actually compatible, or whether you're just romanticizing the idea of winning her back. Now let's talk about what all of this costs you if you misread it. If you see these signs and you pounce, if you take them as permission to go back to begging or explaining or trying to convince her that you're different, you undo all the progress you might have made. You confirm that you're reactive, that you're still in her frame, that your self-respect is conditional on her approval, and she'll pull back instantly. Not because she doesn't care, but because she can't respect a man who doesn't respect himself. And without respect, there is no attraction. There is no relationship. There's just nostalgia and comfort and eventually resentment. On the other hand, if you see these signs and you continue to prioritize your own growth, your own purpose, your own standards, something shifts. You stop being the man she left. You become the man she wishes she'd stayed with. And more importantly, you become the man who doesn't need her to return to be whole. You become the man who's genuinely okay either way. And that's the energy that makes her want to fight for a place in your life instead of assuming she can walk back in whenever she's ready. So here's the reframe. These signs are not a roadmap to getting her back. They're a mirror. They show you whether you've actually changed or whether you're just waiting for permission to slip back into the same patterns. If you've done the work, if you've built something real in the time apart, these signs become opportunities for a healthier reconnection. If you haven't, they become traps that lead you right back to the dysfunction that broke you in the first place. Let me describe the man who handles this correctly. He's not checking her social media every day. He's not asking mutual friends for updates. He's not performing his growth for an audience of one. He's living. He's building. He's pursuing goals that have nothing to do with her. He's developing friendships, skills, disciplines. He's becoming comfortable with silence, with solitude, with the idea that he might never hear from her again, and that's okay, because he's enough. And when she does reach out, when those signs start appearing, he's warm, but not desperate. He's open, but not available at any cost. He's interested, but not invested in a particular outcome. He respects her enough to let her make her own choices. He respects himself enough to maintain his standards. And that combination, that's what creates the space for something real to develop if it's meant to. So what do you actually do? First, you stop monitoring. Stop checking her profiles. Stop asking about her. Stop making your entire emotional state dependent on whether she's thinking about you. That's not strength. That's addiction. Second, you redirect that energy into yourself. Gym, work, hobbies, friendships, therapy, whatever it takes to build a life you're proud of independent of her. Third, when she does reach out, you respond like a centered man, not cold, not overeager, just present. You match her energy without exceeding it. You're honest without being heavy. You set boundaries without being punitive. Fourth, you let time and consistency do the work. If she's serious about coming back, she'll show it through sustained effort, not just breadcrumbs. And if she's not, you'll already be in a place where that's disappointing, but not devastating, because you've built something that doesn't require her to validate it. Here's the hard truth no one wants to hear. Most of the time when a woman thinks about coming back, she doesn't. Not because you did something wrong, but because the version of her that left and the version of you she left are both gone. You're both different people now. And sometimes that means there's no going back, only forward in separate directions. And that has to be okay. It has to be okay because your peace, your self-respect, your future, none of that can be held hostage by someone else's decision. You are not a half waiting for another half to feel whole. You are a complete person deciding whether another complete person adds value to your life or just nostalgic comfort. So when you see these signs, when you notice she's circling back, ask yourself, do I actually want this person in my life? Or do I just want to win? Do I miss her or do I miss the idea of her? Have I healed or have I just gotten better at hiding the wound? Because if you're honest, really honest, you'll know the difference. And that honesty is what protects you from slipping back into something that already proved it didn't work. You are the answer, not her return, not her validation, not her recognition that you've changed. You, the work you've done, the man you've become, the life you're building. That's the answer. Her coming back is just a question you get to decide if you want to entertain. And the moment you realize that, the moment you internalize that your value isn't determined by whether someone who left decides to come back, everything changes. You stop waiting, you stop performing, you stop hoping, you start living. And ironically, that's when you become most attractive, not just to her, but to everyone. Because a man who's complete, who's grounded, who's at peace with himself, that's rare, that's magnetic. That's the man people want to be around. If you want more of this, if you want reminders that cut through the noise and tell you what you actually need to hear instead of what feels good, subscribe right now. Because this channel is built for men who are done with the victim mentality, done with the nice guy cope, done with pretending that weakness is virtue. This is for men who want the truth even when it stings. This is your community. These are your people. And we're all building something better than what we were. So join us. And I'll see you in the next one.